It's currently 5:18, Tuesday, December 1st, 2015. Welcome to Evening Tea.
So, on this episode, we're finally going to finish our tales of the past summer. We said, we said that we would try to get through it in the sixth episode or something, and this is the 9th or something.
Yeah.
And we're finally going to finish. We had the last episode we had Hassan Qureshi and didn't talk about it, but it's good to have a guest and have a break from just us talking. So
that was the first time that we had a real guest.
Yeah, that is the first time. He was our first guest.
2 episodes we interviewed each other. Yeah. Which is good because
so you get to know us.
Yeah, right.
But most of you already know us pretty well.
That's why we're doing the podcast. Yeah.
But hopefully we have a few more interviewees lined up to be coming in soon, and probably we'll have some repeats because just to talk about different topics and whatnot. But so we are going to finish our discussion of the summer and probably go on and try to get as far as we can to now.
Yeah. Current date.
Yeah.
So, where did we leave off? I can't remember.
Well, I think we only had a few things left to talk about. Oh, we didn't talk about the second New York trip also.
Right. Okay. So we had the first New York trip, or you had the first New York trip. A little bit later, it was actually time for Abby to head to college at SUNY Purchase.
End of August.
Yeah.
So this time it was just Noah and I and Abby and Sharon and Arvin who went down because because Sean had left quite 2 or 3 weeks earlier.
Was it?
Yeah.
That much.
Because
she left, and then we had.
And then Arvin came for 2.5 weeks.
2.5 weeks. Yeah. And for that time, we were doing the plays.
The play and OHI. So now it's time for him to go back. So we're gonna drop him off at some airport in Rhode Island that had just the week before opened
Providence
a direct flight to Frankfurt, where he lives.
Yeah. Providence Internet. I'd like to say that, but I don't know if that's the name.
I don't think it was actually in Providence, was it? I think it was near Providence. We ate in Providence.
Right. Yeah.
But maybe it was. I'm probably wrong. So we leave early in the morning and go down to York Beach, not Wells Beach. Yeah. We go to York Beach this time.
This is a childhood memory for the person who is taking it, Sharon.
She used to go there quite often with her family when she was younger, and we get there and we think, okay, we'll eat at the Goldenrod. Is that what it's called? A restaurant that Sharon's been to several times and brought Abby and Hannah and her family. But we get there, and because it's right when college is starting, they're short-staffed, so it doesn't open until 11, and we were down there at 8.
Yeah, because we had to be at Sharon's parents' house, which is where we were staying that night. We had to be there at a specific time.
Yeah.
We had to be there at
1 or something like that.
Yeah. Which didn't end up happening.
No. But so we weren't going to wait 3 hours to eat anyway. So we went to this other restaurant.
We basically said, where can we get some food? We looked around.
Yeah. And then
we saw
a restaurant
diner
directly
it said,
across the street.
Food on it or something like that. I can't remember.
I don't remember what it was called. And we go and sit down, and it's just there is 15 seats there.
Typical
tiny kitchen,
small diner.
Yeah, so we sit down at the bar, I guess. It's not really a bar. It's just there's no alcohol. It's just,
what do they call those?
It's just a bar. I don't know.
Just a diner
stand
bar kind of thing.
Yeah. Sit down, and this waitress. Oh my goodness, she must have been brand new or something or deaf or something. I have no idea. Because she asked me, I'm like, I'll have a mushroom omelet. And then she's like, what was that? I'll have a mushroom omelet. Okay, what kind of cheese? What do you have? I said. And she said, we have American or cheddar. And I'm like, cheddar. What? cheddar. And then she goes to the next people and has them order and stuff, and comes back to me and says, wait, what kind of cheese did you want again? And I said cheddar. And when my omelet comes, it's American.
As I can remember, this has happened twice in the past. Or stuff like this has happened. Like the other day we went to McDonald's after a play
to get ice cream sundaes.
We said because you said make sure you ask for the nuts.
Oh yes.
So I said 3 sundaes with nuts.
With nuts.
And I said,
and then she repeats back, 3 sundaes with nuts, and we get it, and they hand us the food, and there aren't any nuts, and nobody comes back to the window. We sit there for like 45 seconds.
Yeah.
No
she hands us
back.
the food. And then Gabe's like, "There's no nuts."
They never.
And then I stare at the window.
It happens all the time. But so it was American, and I ate it anyway because I don't want to cause trouble or anything. I'd rather be dissatisfied than have them throw away 2 eggs and a mushroom. The food was not. There was no salt in it.
I thought you were talking about the sundae.
No, not the sundae. At this diner in York or whatever, and we drove around a little bit and looked at a lighthouse.
Sharon was going to get, I can't remember what. Sharon was going to get Laffy Taffy or something.
Oh, she was going to get
from someplace.
Saltwater taffy.
Yeah. Saltwater. Yeah. And she said, "No, we don't want to park."
Because
even though there were plenty of parking,
because it would just be a few minutes. So.
And it was this big white van.
Big white van again, of
it's
course.
A little tricky.
So
she said, "Noah, please drive around
just
the block."
Drive in circles. And we drove like 5 times until she came out.
In the middle of traffic.
Yeah.
Getting in the van. But
yeah. So anyway, we were done at York, and we drive off to...
Well, we went swimming too. Don't forget.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah,
it was
we
extremely
went
cold.
It was really cold, and there was like red seaweed everywhere.
Dead seaweed, and it was making the water red.
It's scary, and it's sticking all over you and stuff. But
very interesting.
Anyway, we drive and we go to Massachusetts and get to and all like this has been on the news for weeks, months, that Mars is going to be the size of the moon.
It's been
and I'm like,
uncertain.
That can't be possible. Yeah. And I didn't believe it. I did not believe it. And then Arvin, no, it's gonna be that way, and he calls it the Mars.
So Arvin saw somewhere that I don't think it was all over the news because I didn't hear about it.
Really, I saw it everywhere.
Oh yeah, well, anyway, he saw this that it was
that Mars was going to look the size of the moon,
right?
And he calls it the Mars.
So he's like, guys, we have to stay up
because it was that night. It was that
prior to this. Arvin and I had been taking pictures, just because we're both kind of into photography and doing like star pictures and stuff like that. And he's actually very talented.
Yeah, he's good.
Taken some really good photos. Yeah. But he wanted to capture the Mars.
At nights at Camp Capella, we went out onto the beach and took really some
pretty
of the
good
photos were really good. Not all. Some of them were like it's a picture of stars, but some of them were really, really good. But
so we decide. But the interesting thing is, I didn't truly believe him because the first thing that popped up when I typed in Mars 2015 was hoax.
Yeah,
that's like the first 10 articles.
But it was in real news station, real things. And that can't be true. It's just a joke.
I think what they said was true, but the perception was false. It's gonna be closer. Mm-hmm. But not noticeably
Well, but then they
closely.
showed pictures of a red moon and a moon. And like, why do they look exactly the same?
Color balance is probably off.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we decided we're going to stay up.
Yeah, so we get to Sharon's parents' house and go on a walk and have lunch and whatnot, go to her brother's house. But then we set up the cots in the dining room of their house and lay there playing music, guitars and whatnot, and waiting for like 12 12 o'clock or so to go outside to go to the park nearby their house to look at the Mars.
Kind of nearby. I mean, we had to drive there, and it was...
Yeah, I mean, it was in the town.
Yeah.
And Arvin's, well, actually all of us are pretty interested in stars and astronomy and whatnot. And at Camp Capella, Arvin downloaded this app onto his phone where you can hold it up to the sky and see all the stars and constellations and planets, and there's information on them when you click on them and stuff. So he added it out so we could find it, and we look all around. When we get to the park, we can't see it. There's no... It's not there.
Yeah.
And
it might have been cloudy too. Well, it wasn't that cloudy. It was a little cloudy.
Yeah, and then
but even then there were trees all around.
We look around at the sky and it's not there, and then we keep looking around and we point at like a 45-degree angle into the ground, and that's where it says it is in the orbit. That's where the phone app says that Mars is. And it's very accurate too. This app it's pretty amazing actually. But so the Mars now I'm calling it that. The Mars is about 3 hours away from peeking over the horizon, by which time it would be starting to get light out again, and by the time we could see it, it would be the middle of the day, and it's still going to be a tiny little red dot.
Yeah. And you wouldn't probably be able to see it.
No, you wouldn't. Yeah, you wouldn't. And so that was the story of that.
And this town, just a little bit on this town, this is where Sharon grew up. Mm-hmm. It's basically this lost town. I think I drove there. Yeah.
I can't
on the way. Yeah, and I remember specifically because I ran a red light purposefully.
Oh, yes.
And, well, I thought it was like a blinking. Stop. I wasn't really paying attention.
I remember now.
But anyway, we were getting off of this like 6-lane, maybe even more highway that speed limit's like 65 or something, and then we get off and we go a little ways in this kind of Massachusetts-y, like, if you know what I mean, just a lot of traffic but not a lot of things, maybe like a gas station or a car place, and then she's like, okay, the road's gonna get really narrow and really turny and really twisty. It wasn't that bad, but it was completely different than what we were just at. And so we go on this extremely twisty road that you would not want to go off the side because it was just rocks. It was just rocks on the side, and the speed limit was like 50 or something on this little tiny road that barely just fit these just two cars probably. And so after probably 15 minutes on this road, we get to the town. What's the name of the town? Hopedale, Massachusetts. And it's this lost town. I mean, it's like really old. Or it's not an old town.
Like
it was
train
just
music or like a
factory,
textile. Yeah.
And that's what the town was. That's the only reason I think the town was popular, or that's why people lived there.
Yeah.
For the textiling, I don't know what era.
Early Industrial Revolution,
late 1800s, maybe.
Yeah, Industrial Revolution.
And so it's kind of interesting. But there's this big pond that we walked around, and it's covered in that algae. What do they call it?
I can't remember. I can't remember what it's called.
Kitty something.
No, I can't remember what it's called. Something.
Milkweed or
no, it's not that. Anyway, now it's gonna bother me. Anyway, so we're done in Hopedale, and it's time to go on, and that's the day of Arvin's flight. So we drive and get to Providence, and we haven't eaten, and Arvin's plane doesn't leave for a little while.
So we fight a little bit about where to go.
Where to eat.
So we stop at a Mexican place. The Mexican place that we stopped at, a chain of some sort, just to discuss what we're going to eat.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I don't remember the name of the place. It was basically like not a... It was like
I ate at one in Portland.
Yeah, they have them in Portland.
I can't remember what it's called. Ugh. Anyway, we decide that we'll go to this other restaurant.
I wanted to go to the Taste
Providence.
of India, which I've been to, a very good restaurant in Providence that my cousin and aunt and uncle live in Burrillville, which is just outside of Providence, and we went to this Taste of India restaurant, different from the one in Bangor, but very good. We almost went there, but we decided to go to this Peruvian restaurant, which I don't remember the name of.
I can't remember the name.
Yeah.
But we get there. It's really nice. It's pretty nice. It's a good restaurant.
Well, we thought it was this little tiny bar.
It looks sort of like just a normal restaurant.
And you needed valet parking.
Yeah. So we just parked down the street.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Because the van was too large.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we go into the restaurant, and we get seated. It's really nice inside. It's a pretty big restaurant. It doesn't look like that from the outside, but it is.
You walk in and then you turn a corner and then you see the restaurant.
Yeah, it's really nice, and we get our food and whatnot, and it's really good food. They give you a lot though. There's a lot of it.
Yeah.
So we had a lot left over, so we put them in the whatever they're called, the boxes, the restaurant boxes, and take them. They're very, very good food. I hope to go there again. It was good.
We had some very good meals that trip.
We did. We'll discuss another one in a little bit.
What do we have done? And then we head to the airport, right?
Yeah, to drop Arvin off, and we park and go in, and we they have these giant sailboats in the lobby, or not lobby, entrance. Huge, really nice sailboats. Old ones.
They had a newer racing boat and an older small sloop racing boat.
Those were really interesting because, as we've talked about, we enjoy sailing, and Arvin has catamaran and whatnot. So we go up, and Arvin tries to get in line, but they're not taking him yet because his flight gate hasn't opened, or I don't know the terminology. So we just go downstairs and then sit in some chairs and wait for an hour and a half.
I feel like it was a little bit longer than that.
Yeah, it may have been longer.
Because we got a coffee
and talked
for quite a
3
while.
Luggage claims went through, and yeah. But it was good, and eventually it's time for him to leave, and we go up and
we wave at him.
Gets his or checks in or whatever.
Goes to the security
and then
checkpoint.
And then we wave at him for
minutes. Many minutes.
Many minutes, and until we can't see him, pretty much.
Which takes a while because
it takes a while, and it was, but we'll see him again.
Yeah,
we'll see him again. And he had a good flight back, and now we've got to go drive to Elmsford, New York again, which is a
4-hour. I'd like to say.
Nah, it's not
3
that
hours.
Long. Is it 3 and a half?
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So we drive.
Yeah. We get in the car. I think.
And we drive.
I feel like you and
Abby
we
got
slept.
lost. And we got lost in or not lost, but we went in a giant circle, and it was we passed the same.
What
GPS
we did is
again.
I was technically navigating. I was sitting in the passenger up front. Gabe and Abby in the back. Now it's just Gabe and Abby in the back because we dropped off
Arvin.
Oh, just Arvin.
Yeah, it was just Arvin.
So anyway, I'm navigating, and Sharon's just like she likes this specific app. It's TripAdvisor or something like that.
I can't remember. MapQuest or something.
It might be MapQuest, and it's an online app.
Not a sponsor.
Yeah, and it was telling me to get off the interstate at a certain point. So we figured, well, we haven't been gone for that long on the interstate, so it's kind of weird that it's having us get.
I remember this.
Yeah. So we get off the interstate, and it makes us do all kinds of turns and stuff. Yeah. But long story short, we go through all of these very, very, very fancy, nice New York, and it might have been just Connecticut, actually.
Yeah.
At this point, suburbs, really nice houses.
Yeah.
Very nice country, twists and turns, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of stop signs.
Yes.
And a lot of random turns that are sporadic.
Yeah.
And you drive on a road for 0.1 mile.
Yeah.
Long story short, we get back on the interstate.
Just like a mile ahead of where we were.
Yeah.
When we got off. And then we keep going. But we get to the hotel and go to bed. Yeah, I think I take out the leftover Peruvian food and we don't have any
we go to that restaurant. The breakfast place.
El Dorado.
Yeah, which was not a sponsor.
Not good.
Not a sponsor.
Not good food. We went there on the last New York trip, and that was not good.
Yeah.
But we went there again because it was close. And then we get back to the hotel, and I'm still hungry, so I take out the leftover Peruvian food and eat it with using straws as chopsticks because we don't have any silverware. That doesn't work well, but I mean, and then we go to bed, and the next day it's time for Abby to go to
orientation.
No, not orientation.
Go.
Yeah.
She's
so
freshman not orientation, but it was like a startup day or something like that.
I can't remember, but we bring all of her stuff and bring
dorm
it to her
day
room
or something like that.
Yeah, and then unpack it, and she gets her identification cards and whatnot, and there's a lunch thing for all the family members and friends and whatnot. And we go to that and yeah, and then we say goodbye.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, and so
we stay there all day.
All day. Yeah, it was pretty much. It was
just
an all-day
exploring because I had not seen the
it's nice.
campus yet. It's pretty nice.
It's pretty nice.
The only complaint I have is the buildings are a little depressing. They're very nice architecture.
Yeah.
But as Sharon had said,
Yeah.
the architect that had built the building or designed the buildings, designed them also for prisons.
Yeah, like he was a prison architect who was hired to build this college. But I mean, it's a nice campus. It is.
Yeah.
All the buildings are. You could look at it as prison-like or just modern.
Yeah, very very modern.
Just everything's a square.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's really nice. So we say goodbye and we go back to the hotel, and now it's time for dinner. So what do we do? So we look up the restaurants in Elmsford, and we find this one called
right down the road,
Casaletta, which is this Italian restaurant.
Yeah.
And we go there, and it's
very good.
It's really good. It's amazing. They have, I mean, lots of restaurants are like this in New York, but not in this relatively small town. And
it's outside of New York.
Outside of New York City, so we
didn't expect much.
We just thought it was good. I mean, the pictures were nice. It had a good rating on Yelp, but we go there and we sit down, and it's really nice. It's huge. It's a big restaurant. It's
and
like
you can tell that it's authentic. Or the people who came to build the building or design the building had Italy in mind.
Yes, it was very not genuine, authentic.
Authentic,
yeah, like
and
said,
it looks kind of like a
Tuscan home.
Yeah, right. But on the outside, it looked like you were going to a funeral home.
Yeah, it had like
or
vinyl
something like that. Yeah,
I mean, it was.
And then you walk in, it's
really nice, and all
teleportation.
I think everyone who worked there was in the same family because they were all Italian. They all had Italian accents
and like
genuine
ones.
Skin. Yeah, and it was really.
And they were all very nice, and they knew what they were doing.
Yes,
they were
all
running around.
Like 50-year-old men were the waiters, and very experienced.
And the guy that helped us a little bit later, he was very, very good. I hope we tipped him.
We did like 25 or 30%.
Yeah. And
but
that's
he
how
sits us down, and he's like, okay, and they bring us bread. Oh, the bread was so good.
Yeah.
We've told this
there
story
were tons
to so
of
many
options.
people.
I think they actually.
No, not for bread. They just bring you.
And then they had crackers or something.
Yeah, I can't remember. And olive oil and vinegar and butter and whatnot. And then he comes and has this not giant, but like 3-foot tall dry erase board or chalkboard with all the specials written on it, and explains each special to us from memory and how it tastes and how they make it, and it's very very good.
And he knows speaking very quickly.
Very quickly.
So it was more of a show than
yeah. But and then we get for an appetizer we get figs covered in prosciutto, and I mean it's just figs and prosciutto. It's not like, but it was the rest of our. It was so good. It was really good, and then we order. I got some sort of veal eggplant dish, and
I got lasagna or whatever they call it. Yeah. It was so good.
That was really good.
Sharon got a espresso
at the end
afterwards,
and that was it. It was exactly how an espresso is supposed to be. It's very intense coffee flavor without the bitterness. It was really good, and I got a cappuccino. It was really good, and you got a decaf. That's what you said. And they bring for dessert. We got 3 different things and shared, and they were all really good. Really good. I mean, everything was perfect, and and then they just bring you a fruit platter and bread to eat until you are ready to pay, and then it was really good.
Yeah,
really good restaurant. So we go back to the hotel, play some cribbage, and go to bed.
Yeah, and that was it.
And then that's it. Drive all the way back up.
Yeah.
In one thing, which isn't as bad as it was driving up from Pennsylvania or DC or anywhere like that. But I mean, it's still a long drive. And so that's and then the day after next. The next is our first day of school, I think. No. Yeah. Or 2 or 3 days after that was our first day of school.
Coming right by.
So then school started.
So I think we're going to end there for the summer.
Yeah.
We have a couple more stories that we can add a little bit later.
Yeah, and just throughout other episodes, but
so to commemorate the summer, we're going to be playing the song In the Summertime by Mungo Jerry.